right, we're good to go.
We're good to go. Let's get to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Let's get to it. Welcome back to another episode of You Know What? I'll be forgetting the name. Yeah, like you know what?
React to all things F1 and beyond.
Bow. Don't know. Just talking so funny.
So we didn't have a post race wrap up after China the other day.
No.
Kind of, a lot of things. A kid was sick. I was sick. I'm a little congested right now.
Yeah, it's going around, even in the
Yeah.
States.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, do you want to start with that? Do you want to talk about that first to get out of the way?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it seems to be a wave of like, I don't know. What did you go to the doctor when you were sick the other day?
No, I never go to doctors.
Okay. Good to know. I try
Don't go
not to
doctors.
go. But
Yeah,
when you have a kid and they're in
you have to.
school, you have to. And they diagnosed for her with flu B.
Flu B. They got a letter
Yeah.
for the flu.
Yes, they do. For the
They
strain of the
come with
flu.
everything.
So she was
Okay.
out for a week, almost a week and a half. I, was out for like a week, but yeah, doing a lot better. That thing was
Okay.
vicious, man.
Yes, I don't know what. Like, so I've earlier this year, in fact, earlier this month, or last month, March, beginning of March, I got super duper sick, like really weak. Had a cold, flu, mucusy stuff. Then it kind of went away, and I was kind of like, I lost my appetite. Then I got my appetite back, started eating
Yeah.
like crazy, miss food, and then now I've got this hay fever type cough thing. I don't know what it is, but I'm in good health. So we'll
Good.
see in it. I don't know.
I
We'll
know.
see. But
Hopefully
yeah.
this does not affect, any other drivers because, they have to interact with people.
Yeah.
I always wonder about that. Like,
Yeah.
especially the drivers that have a family and kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you prevent yourself from not being infected by these tiny humans? Because it's damn near impossible.
Never actually thought of that, but when you think about it, for real, having a wife and kids as a Formula One driver is a liability.
It is.
Like, could you, if your partner's drive, like if your partner works and it's not remote, you have to be separated. And then it's like kids, well, it's just mad.
I
Like,
agree.
and also some of these racing drivers have been driving for a long time. Look at Fernando Alonso. Like, how, like, you might not have a family when you start as a rookie, but as time goes on, and obviously family is a thing. Like,
Mhm.
you, how do you do that? You know what I mean? No one
I
ever talks
know.
about it.
I,
Interesting.
I, I, I would be interested in knowing that because I think, of course, the partner is definitely going to pick up 80% of that slot,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what's going on at home. So that must be a lot of pressure. And I
It's
guess it's
tough.
not so, not so different when your partner's a performer or an actor or, NFL or NBA star. I guess it's, pretty much the
Mm.
same. The other partner pretty much has to.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit different with Formula One. I was listening to oh my gosh, his name just slipped my mind. There's an actor who speaks about the kind of roles he picks up.
Mhm.
Jeffrey Wright. I saw Jeffrey Wright. He had the film that came out called, I can't remember the name of the film, but it's on Amazon. It's a new film, one of his newest films, and he had a screening in London. We're gonna get back to F1 in a second, but he
Yeah.
had a screening in London, and he spoke about someone asked him a question about like the roles he picks, and he was talking about at a certain point in his life, he only picked roles where if in all the films you'd see him in, he'd have a role where he'd be doing like maybe 3 weeks on it, and then he'd be gone. Nothing that committed him to being like number one on a call sheet.
Mhm.
Because he was looking after, raising a family, which I thought was really interesting. Because there's so many films he's in, is like, oh, that's that guy, but he's never
I
number
know.
one. Which was really
A
interesting.
good one is
NBA,
American
oh,
Fiction. That American Fiction movie. I don't know if
that's
that's the movie you're talking about,
that's the film I was talking
but
about.
it
Yeah,
was amazing.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. That's one of
love
his.
it.
That's Jeffrey Wright's one of the. I mean, now one of his more recent leading roles, because usually the
Mhm.
middle guy. And I was going to say basketball's different because if you, I mean, you're not traveling around the whole world. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a huge fact. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
not a lot of games require you to
No,
be. around the whole world for the whole year for like well, at least 3/4 of the year. So F1's different.
You're right. It is truly the world's most international sport.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it can, hands down, can say that. They race practically in a different country every single week, when there's a race. So
yeah.
you're right.
And now they're in Japan.
Yeah,
Now they're in Japan. You know what? Right, let's because I don't know. I don't know. Let's just go straight into Yuki Tsunoda because that's going to come up. And Liam, what's your thoughts on the whole Yuki Liam thing right now?
I'm very intrigued. I'm super duper intrigued. One, because like you were right on the money about that whole thing. The last time, we were here having this conversation, and I asked you, how long do you think he has? Him being Liam Lawson. And you're like, not long.
Mm.
Literally the next week, we're getting the news like, yeah, he's out and Yuki's in. I am so intrigued because I really want to know what the thought process was that went into picking Liam Lawson over Yuki Tsunoda in the first place. And we talked about this at the start of the
Yeah,
season.
we did
Who
actually. Yeah.
like what was the conversation that Helmut and Christian Horner were having, you know, for one driver versus the next? Because I didn't see where or how you could pick, Liam Lawson over Yuki Tsunoda, who was already quite experienced in F1, had a really, solid midfield career going on.
Yeah.
So
So far.
I love the fact that he gets this opportunity. What I do not like is that it's kind of like for him, it's a little bit of a disadvantage, right? He could have had the opportunity to start fresh with the team at the beginning of the season, have that,
Yeah.
development time during the off season to kind of feel his way through, like the time
Mhm.
that Lewis had, all of that. You see what I'm saying? But now
Yeah.
you want to throw me in here after you done fit some other dude for the seat. Some other dude had that damn, racing suit on. Now you want to come up with this hurry
Yeah.
come up stuff and throw me in there. I'm feeling some type of way.
Yeah. Also, I forgot about that. Like, there's so much that goes into the seat, like fitting a driver into the seat, making sure that he
Precisely.
is the car's. You know what I mean? Like
What are
best
you gonna do?
suited.
Switch the seat out from the freaking racing
They might have
bulls?
to.
Like
They might
to
have to. They
me,
might have to do that.
and listen, I love Yuki. I've always loved Yuki. I love the fact that, him, I both share that, passion for food. I'm a
Mm.
celebrated big back over here. Like I could eat. All right.
Yeah.
But I really feel strongly that they did him a disservice by just like all of a sudden now want to throw
Yeah.
him in.
Yeah.
That kind of bothers me. It really does.
So I look at it a bit differently. And we'll talk about Liam in a second, but I think the fact that it's the Japanese Grand Prix where he's getting switched in, the fact that um Yuki probably had a fire lit under his belly from not getting the seat that everyone thought he deserved. The fact that it does an interview where he described it as uh he hasn't experienced crazier, all the things that have changed in such a short period of time.
Mhm.
Um Sometimes chaos presents an opportunity for something magical to happen and for a great story to be told. And so I think, yeah, man, I think, and he's gonna have the biggest. Do you know what I mean? If he does well, he's gonna have the biggest cheers. Um, and yeah, and also Honda is Japanese, and um, man, like he's just got so much to drive for and to prove, which I think is a massive blessing for Yuki. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I was listening to an interview with Christian Horner talk about they asked him a question, did you make a mistake? It was blunt like that. Did you make a mistake? And he has like you'll notice he has this kind of like primary answer to any question to do with like Liam Lawson and just the whole Red Bull, do you know what I mean, switcheroo after two races thing. And it always comes it's always saying something along I'm gonna paraphrase it, always saying Liam's a great driver. He's now with the second team. And he just didn't have enough time, which was unfortunate. But I'm sure he'll do really well. And yeah, it's time to. He's never answered the question straight up by saying, "Yeah, we made a mistake." And the reason why I think that's an important thing to mention is because I think Red Bull over the years, for me, and maybe for a lot of people, which is why they got booed when they announced the cars. They've developed a reputation of being the not the baddies, but the we'll do whatever it takes to win team. Do you know what I'm saying? Everything that
Yep.
happened with Lewis Hamilton not winning his eighth championship, um, everything that's happening now with the Yuki Tsunoda switch, it's like, okay, cool. Well, we're not going to stick around with this guy who's finishing 20th in two races. Let's get someone else in because we want to win. It's like whatever
Yeah.
it takes to win. We don't care about our public perception. We don't care about any of that stuff. We just want to win. And there's something commendable about that. But I also think it's seedy. It's yeah. There's a lot of things that can make that a challenging way to be. But Yuki's a good guy. Everyone loves Yuki. If you don't know Yuki and you get to know Yuki, you like Yuki. So rooting for him
Mhm.
to win and stick it to the whole team for making a mistake is an exciting, odd reason to root for Red Bull in a weird way now.
This is
So
very true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But what's your thoughts on Liam though? Liam Lawson and how he will respond.
Um, I feel bad for Liam. I do. I feel like, you know what I mean? It's two races.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's two races. And then you're
yeah,
gonna put me back, what happens now? I think the only thing, the only saving grace is kind of like, well, it was only two races. Like he has an opportunity to come back at some point. He's young.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think overall, yes, there's a little distaste left in my mouth because of the how, things happened and
Mhm.
just how it kind of played out. I don't feel very good about knowing that Liam Lawson found out about this whole thing over social media with everybody else. That's kind of like, wait,
Yeah,
what? That
yeah,
kind of threw me off as well. And I had Yuki having to keep it a secret from, everyone until they were ready to release the news. It's that
yeah,
whole thing kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But other than that, I do agree that Red Bull is take no prisoners. They have a very like take no prisoners type strategy when it comes to driver performance and what they're gonna
yeah,
do in terms of, making sure that they have the best people for the team or the best person to support Max, I should say.
yeah,
So I agree, yeah. But two things can be true at the same time. I don't like how it was done, but I'm
yeah,
excited. I know Yuki's gonna come in and he's gonna actually try to get some positive results. So I'm excited for that.
yeah. I think now I'm thinking about it in hindsight. I think that was a leak, I think there was meetings behind everyone's going to Japan anyway. People in Japan obviously rooting for their guy Yuki. I think there was a
Hmm.
conversation that was had, and there was a decision made like in a private boardroom somewhere in Japan, and someone was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the most exciting news ever. Let me leak it." And then it was like, because the way it got announced, it wasn't on anything. It was kind of like it was on YouTube and it was kind of like
Yeah.
speculation and random interviews on on YouTube. And then after that couple of days, it was announced on the F1 site. So I think it was a leak. So I think Red Bull probably didn't want that to happen, but it happened due to a leak potentially. I thought,
Mm, maybe, potentially.
yeah, I mean, I personally think. One second, let me charge my phone. I personally think Liam Lawson is better off in this seat because
Hmm.
if
I
you look
agree.
at the FP2 results, he finished higher than Yuki. You know what I mean? He had a faster lap. I know it's only practice, but he's comfortable in that second Red Bull car. And yeah, I think he's gonna in the same way as Yuki having this fire lit under his belly. Liam probably has the same thing to prove a point. To prove a point that he's not just this second racing bull, you know what I mean, Red Bull
Mhm.
driver. He's actually a formidable um racing opponent on the track. I did think because did you watch there was something that Max Verstappen said as well in an interview. Basically, he didn't. He's becoming politically correct, Max Verstappen. Shout out him for trying. He didn't say he wasn't happy about the switch, but he made it very clear that he wasn't happy about the switch. He liked a post on Instagram that was very telling. I forgot what the post said exactly, but it said something along the lines of basically it. Do you know what I mean? Red Bull did Liam Lawson a disservice, and he liked the post. And And yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about how much Max Verstappen potentially had a say in Liam Lawson becoming the second driver initially. Do you know what I mean? Is it just me that thinks like that? Is it just me that's thinking, oh, he'd rather
No,
not have a Yuki and have someone that is, do you know what I mean? That he can be the boss of in essence.
but we
And
talked about this
yeah,
at the
yeah.
start of the season. We talked about the fact that,
Mm,
the decision to not choose Yuki over Liam was probably because Max, does not want that type of competition.
maybe, yeah, for sure. And but yeah, he's got it now. And
Yes.
he's got it now. And Red Bull are struggling. They're not the same Red Bull of old. So yeah, they've got things to think about. But I'm excited to see this Japanese Grand Prix. I'm excited to see how Liam Lawson does. I'm excited to see how Yuki does, especially, and Red Bull as a whole, because yeah, everyone's gonna be looking at the distance between Max, Yuki, and Liam. Like how far, how
Hmm.
close are they in qualifying and in the race. So
Hmm.
yeah, bring that on. You got any other points on the Yuki, Liam, Max Verstappen, Red Bull,
Um, no, I'm
Christian?
actually I'm all talked out about that, to be honest with you. I just wanna because even now, like you seeing in the track, seeing them in free practice, you kind of the anxiety starts to not the anxiety, but the anticipation is kind of like, okay, okay, let's get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I kind
yeah,
of just want to get to that aspect of it. I really want to see what happens this weekend. Like I'm really interested.
yeah,
This is gonna be
yeah,
a good one.
yeah. And apparently the track's going to ramp up as well because I think it's been
Mhm.
resurfaced. That's going to be interesting. In other news, so let me just break it to you. Let's put it like this, innit? Toto Wolff has suggested that after the Chinese Grand Prix, George Russell is definitely considered one of the top three drivers on track. Well, in Formula One at the moment. Um, yeah, Toto Wolff said that. Shout out Toto. What do you think? Who's your top three? First and foremost, who's your top three drivers on the grid right now?
Right now,
Hmm.
mm, right now,
And this is drivers. It's not teams. It's just straight drivers and driving ability.
I'm gonna go with Norris.
Norris number one.
No, not you.
Okay, sorry. I just want to check. I just want to know. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know. No
Like
particular order. Okay.
no particular order. I'm gonna go with Norris, Hamilton, and Leclerc. And I'm
Okay.
under duress because
Okay.
I would want to say Verstappen,
Hmm.
but are we talking about does the car have any impact? Are we talking about
No,
top three in
it's
the best
no.
car?
Doesn't matter if all cars were neutralized
Uh-huh.
and everyone on all the drivers on the grid had to drive in these new
Oh,
like all
that
the
changes
cars are
it.
the same.
That
Yeah.
changes
Who
it.
were the top three? Yeah.
I would go with Max, Lewis, and like see, this is where it gets tough for me because I want to say
Yeah.
Lando, but and I know this is going to be a very unpopular decision.
Hmm.
I love Alex Albon's driving style.
Ooh, okay.
I
All right,
do.
cool. Okay.
I do. I love how calm and
Yeah.
effectual he is.
Mm. Calm and
You know
what?
what I mean? Effectual. Like he's very effective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like I don't know if it's the whole thing him being Thai or what, but I
Yeah.
feel like he has the ability when he's in a great car
Mm.
to kind of be one with the car.
Yeah.
I don't know
For
why.
sure.
I get that impression from him.
Yeah. That's not a bad shout. And no one's really talking about Alex Albon in that
I
sense
know.
because there is something about the Williams number one driver in the past couple years. They they're able to extract something out of the car that is never expect. I'm sick and tired of seeing like, and it's not sick and tired of it, but it's like, oh shoot, there's this random team that's
Exactly.
qualified for Q3. Like how? And when George Russell was there, it was always him, and now it's Alex Albon, it's always
Yep.
him, which is really interesting. I didn't think of that's a good one. So you'd say neutralized cars, um, Max Verstappen,
Max
Lewis Hamilton,
Lewis,
Albon.
Lando, or if my wild card is Alex
Okay,
Albon. Yeah.
okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
shall I tell you mine?
Yes.
So initially, when I saw that Toto post, I was like, get out of it, get out of it. There's no way you're bypassing everyone to say George Russell is top three. Like, and then I thought about
He has a
it.
point.
Then I
It's
thought
a
about it,
weird
and I was
statement,
like,
but he has a point.
oh, okay, wait. So once we get Max Verstappen out of the way, because Max
Mhm.
Verstappen is an exceptional driver, you can't take that away from him. People are scared to be number two with him, and it's hard to discount Lewis Hamilton, even though he had a bad couple seasons with Ferrari. He's technically doing better than Leclerc in a car that Leclerc is used to, and
Mhm.
how many? I mean, how much do you have to look back and see what Lewis Hamilton has done just as a driver, not outside of driving, but just as a driver? You can't discredit him. So he's definitely top three. Um, then it kind of gets muddled up.
Yep.
Lando Norris, you can say Lando Norris, but there's been times where Oscar Piastri has done better than him. It doesn't seem like there's such a clear cut distinction between
This,
this guy is definitely number one, this guy is definitely number two, either because Oscar Piastri is amazing or because Lando Norris ain't that great. I'm trying to figure that out. We'll see by the end of the season. That's what makes it difficult for me to put him in the top three. Um, I do like the Alex Albon pick, but then again, Alex Albon, he went to McLaren. He went to Red Bull, and he got basically fired because I mean. But then he brought it back. You know what I mean? That's great. Brought it back. So I would. It's difficult because he's not in a top high flying car, but he's doing really well. The only person that has all those attributes that was in a previous team that wasn't so good, and then got into another team and is doing better, and also has great qualifying pace and is definitely clearly number one is George Russell in his
right?
team. So for me, it's Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, and George Russell because you cannot discredit what he's been able to do in terms of all those his qualifying pace, in terms of finishing in the top five. When I don't want to see George Russell there because he's always ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and it's getting annoying. And I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. Um, Other racing drivers that could be considered, but again, how do you put Fernando Alonso up there? It's hard. You can't put Fernando Alonso up there, really. He's been doing terrible in the Aston Martin.
I
You
agree.
can't put Leclerc there because he's had a bad couple. He's good, but he's had some bad moments. He's had more bad moments than good in Ferrari.
Mhm.
Um, like, like who else is there? Nico Hulkenberg. Now, Hulkenberg is great, but you
I
can't
mean,
put
yeah, but
top three. It's really difficult to not put George Russell there.
he has a point.
Yeah,
He sounded,
I had the same
it
reaction.
sounded wild initially when
Yeah,
you told me. And I was like, wait, what? You saw my
yeah,
face. I
yeah.
was
No way.
like,
But yeah,
hell no. And then I thought about it. I was like, what, wait,
actually, wait a minute.
hold
Wait a
on.
minute.
He
I'm trying to
might
find.
have a point.
There's there's something that someone let me see. Someone commented on one of my videos. I'm gonna try and find the comment. But the comment when I was because I posted like a short basically saying there's no way George Russell is blah blah blah. And someone commented and made me and I thought about it and I was like, hmm. You know what I'm
Yeah, those
saying?
comments, they be making you think.
They definitely do.
Hmm.
Let me try and find this thing. Where's because that person put down he said a fact about George Russell, and I was like, no. So you might have to go ahead. Oh, actually, I found it. Shorts and George Russell. Where is it? Uh, okay, cool. Let me see the comments. Comments on this mofo. Someone said,
Hmm.
okay, I can't see the comments. Oh, I can see the comments. I think. Can I see the comments? This ain't going how I planned. Hold on one second. Let me mute this. Yeah, that's me talking. Okay, shut up, shut up, shut up. That's it. Someone said Russell has finished third in both races and like 10 seconds behind second, and he's known as Mr. Saturday. And yeah, he literally is known as Mr. Saturday. But what I found really interesting is that he's always a couple seconds behind the second place. I don't know if that's race pace. I don't know if that's I don't know what that is. I thought the comment was more, you know what I mean, profound than that, but now I'm reading it, it's pretty basic. But anyway, but yeah, I just thought it was really interesting when they mentioned that. Any other points for you on the George
No,
Russell saga?
I think you're, as I said before, initially I was like, that is wild. Why would anyone? And
Yeah,
then as you started to kind of get into it, I was like, well, now that you mention it, you're right.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
as clear cut as we might think it is. So you're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, ultimately, I'm hella excited. I'm hella excited about the Japanese Grand Prix.
Hmm.
Do you want to talk about the rookies?
Let's talk about the ones we can remember.
Yeah, exactly that. Shout out to the rookies. I mean, one of them crashed in yeah, I mean FP2 today. Shout out Jack
Doing,
Doohan. Is it Doohan or is it Doohan?
I don't know. All I know it's Do and H-A-N. Is it
Yeah,
Doohan or Doohan? Or I don't,
I think it might be
honey,
Doohan. I think he's
sweetie,
trying to make
that's my bad. I don't mean to
Doohan.
be messing up your name. That's my bad. Sorry, my alarm
Yeah,
just
we're
went
trying
off.
to get it right. It's the attempt that
Um,
count.
but yeah, um, I didn't see the crash. Honestly, I just saw the alert pop up on my phone. So I don't know how bad was it. Like, is it like, is the
So
car?
I think he's basically driving down so like the main straight, um, slowing down to take the first chicane, and he's basically his car just spins out and goes to the gravel, and it's quite heavy. How he smashed into the barriers, and when you look at it from the onboard camera, it looks like it's like what the hell happened there? It must have been like a fault, a mechanical fault. But then you get the
Mm.
other where you're looking outside the car, like from like a bird's eye view almost, and then you realize Jack didn't close his DRS flap. Yeah. So that's why the car obviously lost control. For the people that don't know, the DRS flap basically is like drag resistance. They open it to get some more speed and then they close it. There's so much stuff that's on that steering wheel that you have to think about. But if you're an F1, you've done FP, you've done F2 before. These are things you should know. Um, can happen though, but it's just such a rookie error. I mean, excuse the pun, but it's a
I
rookie error.
mean, you remember the magic button? Just
The
saying.
magic button. What's the magic button?
You remember that race? What race was it that Lewis accidentally pressed the magic? The button that's I don't remember what it's
Oh, I
for,
remember
but that's
this.
that's the nickname for the button is the magic button.
Ah, I do remember
Turn the
hearing about
magic
this
on.
actually.
Yeah, and instead of taking the corner, he went straight.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, 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 I remember that. And
I
that was a
mean,
race he won. Like he was like, I think
yes,
it was the restart, right? They restarted it.
yes.
Yeah,
What
that was
race was it? Was it Baku? I can't remember.
I think it was Baku
I just remember
or
thinking like,
Azerbaijan. It was either Baku or Azerbaijan. Um,
what?
yeah. Is Azerbaijan the same? I don't even freaking know anyway. But yeah, I remember seeing it and being like,
Yep.
no.
Yep. So it
And the
happens.
magic button, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Let me double check.
Happens to the rest of us. Trust me, I do not. That is rent free in my head. I promise you. Rent free. Every now and
It was,
again,
yeah,
I think about that and I'm like,
it was Azerbaijan. I'm sure.
oh
I'm
man,
sure it was
every now
Azerbaijan.
and
Yeah.
then I think about that car going straight instead of making that.
Oh my days. Yeah. Hamilton. Yeah.
Yep. So it happens, but if you're coming in, you're fresh, you're a rookie, that is when they say the epitome of a rookie mistake, it kind of is in Formula One, you know.
Yeah.
It, I mean, some would argue that even what do you call it? Sim drivers
Yeah.
know that. And if you're a Formula One race car driver, you probably have driven a simulator. You have to. It's
Yeah,
part of the job.
yeah, yeah. Max Verstappen talks
So
about that because for fun. Like, um,
exactly.
there's also another thing they were saying, like Max, people were talking about, even Alex Albon was talking about why it's difficult to drive with. I'm not sure if I sent you this video, but it was why it's difficult to drive with Max Verstappen. Apparently, it's
Mhm.
like it's like if you're playing a driving game and you set all the sensitivity on 100, where it's like you make the slightest turn and it spins you around. That's
Yeah.
that's apparently how Max Verstappen likes to drive, according to Alex Albon. And so the cars are built around that level of sensitivity, and his the way he um, likes his cars, and that's why I think it's. He was basically saying, Alex Albon was basically saying, you get to a point where um, like you're constantly on edge because the slightest thing
Yep.
can, you know what I mean? So you're even when you're going well, you're tense. Do you know what I'm saying? So it goes from
Trying to prevent the next
smooth and
mistake.
relaxed
Yep.
to being tense because you're trying not to make a mistake.
Hmm.
Um, which I thought was really interesting about, you know what I mean, people that drive in that Red Bull car, according to Alex Albon. I've just found the Azerbaijan thing. Azerbaijan Grand Prix, yeah. Lewis Hamilton race
Yep.
ended prematurely after he accidentally activated the Mercedes magic button, which shifts brake bias to the front wheels, causing a lockup and sending him into the runoff. That's crazy.
Yep.
I didn't know it was 2021 though.
Yeah.
What?
I'm telling you.
Like
And
last
I'm
year.
still thinking about it. Lives rent free. Every now and again, I think about that car going straight. Just yeah.
Yeah. Oh my days. Anyway,
That's
sorry,
the
what's talking about the rookies? Um, so Jack Doohan crashed,
hmm
leaving the flap open. I don't know what Alpine are doing at the moment. I'm not paying attention much. Yeah, I don't know where he is in the pecking order, but for me, can I just jump ahead and say my pecking
Yeah.
order right now is, I mean, Isaac Hajar is doing great. Other than the
Yep.
first race, other than the first race, he's doing great. People that I can't, people aren't really talking about. I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden. George Russell's teammate, Antonelli,
Kimi Antonelli.
Kimi
Kimi
Antonelli.
Antonelli.
People are like, we're not really speaking about him, but
Yeah.
doing really good.
I'm
Um,
a huge Kimi fan. I love me some
yeah,
Kimi
yeah.
Antonelli. Yeah.
No one's really talking about him, but he's probably the number one in the pecking order out of the rookies, and then it's Isaac Hajar for me,
Hmm.
and then it might be Oliver Berman, but I could be wrong because I just like
Oh,
his confidence. Did you watch the last race? I think he passed. I don't know who he passed, but as he passed them, I think he said the equivalent of like "bye," like something crazy. It kind of lost its effect because the person he passed went into the pits straight afterwards. But I
oh,
like that confidence, even though he was like I don't know, like 13th on the grid at the time. Um,
I like that.
yeah, it was like it was interesting to see that. Um, and then the others, I don't know. I really can't. I couldn't tell you what Bortoletto is doing because I'm not watching Kick Sauber, and I think Kick Sauber are not trying to watch themselves.
Nope.
Um, and Jack Doohan, obviously, or Doohan, just recently crashed out. So I don't know what he's doing either. Um, yeah, I think they're. I don't know. You pick one of either or. They're at the bottom two of that
If
pecking order.
if I have to pick, well, one, I'm not really paying attention to what's going on with what do you call it, Kicksabber. I'm not. So I don't really know too much about Bortoletto, if I'm going to
Mhm,
be honest.
mhm,
I know quite a bit about Kimmy, but then again, Mercedes in there. Maybe I shouldn't say they're pushed to promote because I'm a Mercedes fan, so that's probably why I know. So yeah,
mhm.
scratch that.
Yeah.
I think, Mercedes is doing a great job in promoting Kimmy and, kind of allowing people to know more about him, his driving style, and just how he came up through the ranks.
Yeah.
I know not much about doing, if I'm going to be very honest. I think more so the focus for me is trying to see what Isaac Hajar can do. Because I
Yeah.
think I'm thoroughly surprised and very pleased um by how he's kind of, taken everything in stride.
Mhm.
considering all the pressure. And I'm really interested in seeing what him and Kimmy are doing. Everybody else, I kind of feel like I'm not really, you know, there's just so much going on. It's hard to pay attention to the
Yeah.
rookies. I mean, you have Oscar Piastri out here making Lando looking like he's not trying. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like,
Shout out Oscar Piastri.
yeah.
Um, yeah. I'm actually looking now. You know, Kimi Antonelli has 22 points um so far in two
What?
races.
I
22
didn't even
points.
realize that.
So right now, Lando Norris is leading the out of two after the first two races and the sprint. Lando Norris has got 44. Max Verstappen's got 36. George Russell's got 35. Oscar Piastri's got 34. And next in line is Kimi Antonelli with 22, which is crazy. I didn't realize that either. And then you got Alex Albon with 16, Esteban Ocon with 10, Lance Stroll with 10, Lewis Hamilton with 9. Thank God for that sprint race. Goodness gracious. Um,
Fact.
Charles Leclerc with 8. Um, Nico Hulkenberg 6. Ollie Behrman with 4. I think that was obviously maybe when the two Ferraris got disqualified. Maybe some of these guys
Yeah.
moved up. Yuki Tsunoda with 3. That will change. Um, Carlos Sainz with 1. He's not loving his time at Williams at the moment. Isaac Hajar, nothing. Pierre Gasly, nothing. Liam Lawson, nothing. Jack Doohan, nothing. Bortoletto, nothing. But Kickstarter are actually not at the bottom of the pack in terms of the team. Um, yeah, but yeah, that's the order, which is really interesting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm.
Actually, guess who's the bottom of the pack in terms of the team standings after two races? It's not Kickstarter.
Really?
No,
Is
with
it
no
Aston
points.
Martin?
The only team with no points after two races before the Japanese Grand Prix.
Oh, hold on now.
Give
It
any
just
guess?
occurred to me. Alpine
Yeah,
has no points.
nil
Oh,
point.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, poor doing as well. He just crashed out as well. They're gonna have to fix that car.
Oh,
They're gonna fix that car and hope it drives. I hope it drives at least for qualifying, because you know how it is when you got to prepare a car overnight.
ooh.
That was a heavy crash, so I don't know.
Oh, he must feel like crap. Can you imagine? And it's
Yeah,
your own
man.
damn fault.
Yeah, man. Should have closed the
Wow.
flap. Should
Oh,
have closed the
okay.
flap. God damn it.
All
Um,
right.
but yeah, so that's the pecking order for me anyway with the rookies. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't spoken about Ferrari. I did bring it up a little bit just now, but yeah,
The
Ferrari.
double DNF from
Yeah,
last week. Was it last week or the week before?
2 weeks ago. So yeah,
Okay.
they had a week.
I'm all confused now. But yeah, we didn't have a chance to talk about that. I thought that was infuriating. It's for the drivers, of course. Especially when none of these things are your fault.
Yeah,
None of these things are your fault. From being disqualified for a piece of plastic thinner than a damn credit card, to, the weight limit. And it's
yeah.
kind of like, now what?
The weight limit. What was the reason they said the weight was like off?
Um,
How was it not
was it
Leclerc's
fuel?
fault? Huh?
Wasn't it fuel?
I think it was fuel.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was fuel.
But if it was fuel, then it's technically Leclerc's fault.
Is it?
Yeah,
Let's see.
technically it can be Leclerc's fault. If it's fuel, because they always put the same amount of fuel in the cars in the beginning of the race. It's about managing your fuel when you're driving. I don't know for sure, because I know it was like for Lewis, no, for Charles Leclerc, he was like
Mhm.
0. What was it again? It was like so minor. It was like 1 kilogram off. Um, yeah, it was something so even less than that potentially. Um, it was these, it was I mean the slight, minute details that ruined everything for them, which made it also kind of bitter. Um, but I don't know. They haven't necessarily. they're saying it's a team thing, but I'm like, wait, the weight. If it's a fuel thing, that's something that can be. Do you know what I mean?
Well, motorsport.com has an
Okay.
article. It says
Hmm.
Hamilton's disqualification was in effect unavoidable from the moment the car
Yeah.
set off from the grid at a smooth track where the drivers spend little time riding the curbs.
Hmm.
But Leclerc's was potentially avoidable. It was notable.
Yeah.
Um, apparently, I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is by saying,
Hmm.
that it was, avoidable.
Hmm.
I wasn't there. I don't know what the no, I'm
Yeah.
saying, but from what
Yeah.
I do understand is these two disqualifications were based on like very minute
Yeah.
like measurements. Things
Yeah.
that are off by just, millimeters or, like a couple of kilograms. And I
Yeah.
think it's bittersweet to know that, that happened, but it's also a part of the rules because if it happened with another team, we'd be saying the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly. You'll be like, the rules are the rules, but it's only people we
Yep,
like. So we're like, hey, that's not fair. But
exactly.
like that's what I'm saying about the weight thing can be manipulated. Sometimes at the end of the race, the drivers will be like, do you know what I mean, weaving around the track to pick up dirt.
Yeah.
You have more weight on the car. So like, I don't know about that one. I haven't really thought about that one with Charles. But obviously, Lewis Hamilton was, you know what I mean, dealt a bad hand. He had a qualifying like a number one, like basically a pole position sprint qualifying car. Um, and he won the sprint race with the car that he
Yes, he
qualified
did.
with. And then they changed the car,
We
and
talked about that.
he was very uncomfortable in that car.
Yes.
Damn, did I predict that too? Did I predict they
Yes, you did. You
damn,
did. We
hey,
talked about that because you
I'm
were like,
going
why
crazy.
are you changing stuff? Like, leave it
Yeah,
alone. If it ain't broke, why are you
I
trying to
said
fix
that.
it?
I predicted bear stuff. I'm kind of hey, I'm kind of a savant right now. But anyway,
As you
uh,
just lead us into the predictions too.
yeah. So yeah, I remember saying like just don't check. Ferrari have a bad habit of doing things that just don't need to be done. It was a
Hmm.
perfect car to leave it as is. And then after the Grand Prix in China, Lewis Hamilton was talking about he was uncomfortable. It wasn't the same car he drove in the sprint race, but he was happy to finish where he finished, which I believe was fifth,
Yeah.
or before the end of yeah. And that was like okay, cool. Let's take the points and keep moving on to Japan. And then in the evening, I had to get a notification on my phone talking about they're disqualified. I was like, I'm not even reading that as bull. I don't believe it. I saw it like four times. And I was like, I don't believe it. I don't believe I know it. And I saw it and I was like, wait, are you serious? Both of them. Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of when I saw the first alert, I was like, the
Yeah.
second alert, I ran to the Formula One webpage because I was like,
Yeah.
hold on. Because then the second alert came with the disqualification for Pierre Gasly as well. So I was like,
Yeah.
hold on now. What is happening? And then when I went onto the page, I saw I was like, oh, okay, it's three disqualifications for the race. Are you freaking through?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. No one talks about the Pierre Gasly one. It's like,
Poor
yeah, well,
Pierre.
it's like
Yeah,
Leclerc, Hamilton, and yeah, some other person at the back. But
not
yeah.
at the guy.
That's so crazy. I forgot it was three people that got disqualified. Wow.
Mm.
That's
That
crazy.
man went out and got a whole new hairline and ain't nobody talking about it.
Yeah,
That's
no
just
one's talking about it. No, just put your helmet on and drive and just try and get to Q2. It's like
got up and drive.
literally sharp and drive. Um, Interesting though, Lewis Hamilton recently said he has 100% confidence in Ferrari. I'm like, hey, don't speak too
Mhm.
soon, but I think it's the
Yep,
right
he
thing to
got he's
say.
on his own with that one. I'm not
Yeah,
100% confident.
100% confidence. I mean,
Nope.
if Lewis Hamilton is politically correct and he's really
Yes,
good at
he
these
is
media, he's
to the
so good
end.
at interviews and being media trained. He's literally someone to look up to in regards to that.
I agree.
Um, but I hope his confidence in the team reciprocates the confidence in him and reciprocates into just yeah, the confidence in building a car that is good and that lasts and that doesn't get disqualified and it's just, yeah. Ferrari's a
And
funny
does
one, man.
he get basically, huh. Ooh, that let me tell you something. Nothing annoyed me more than that radio message. Can you press the K1, please? Like nothing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't even driving a car and I was annoyed. I'm like, shut up.
yeah, yeah,
I am sure he knows
yeah,
when to
yeah.
push the goddamn button, speaking of buttons.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But can you be quiet? He'll deal
Yeah,
with
but
it when he deals with it.
it's tough. I personally, controversial opinion, I don't actually want to hear what's happening in the cockpit unless it's like pivotal information. Like,
I
don't
agree.
tell me about why are you stopping the broadcast for me to hear? Can you press the K? I don't need to hear about K1. That's going to make me mad at you. Like, it's bothering me that, you know what I mean, the broadcasters think, let's switch to Hamilton's radio for us to hear that. Like, let's hear the important stuff. Let's hear when he's pissed off. Let's hear when he's saying something that can massively change things. I don't actually want to hear from the person on the other side. I want to hear from Hamilton. Um, that's just my personal opinion. My personal
I
preference
agree.
is some of these people
I
that we
agree.
will never see be talking too much. Like, I don't want to hear from you.
I definitely agree. But yeah, now, it's time to get down to the predictions for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Oh shoot. Okay. Um, was it just me? I'm just the only one did it. You don't
I
have a prediction?
mean, all right, let's start with my half-assed prediction. Because
Oh,
I hate this
you
is the
right this
part
time.
of the show, guys, that is not my favorite because I do not like making predictions. I'm a
No, you,
basically let's wait and see type person. But I think that given what's transpired over, the last couple weeks, I think even though, Oscar is driving his ass off right
mm,
now, I think there's a lot of room for stuff to happen. I'm not sure what's happened in the last 2 weeks with those cars. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah,
I'm not sure what's going on with Max. Especially with that change with Yuki. I don't know if he's pissed off enough to, become that bad out of hell and
yeah.
drive, become Mad Max. So I'm really interested in seeing what happens there. So if I'm gonna go, damn, this is tough for me. I want to say I'm expecting McLaren to definitely be in the top five.
Hmm.
But I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, I'm hoping that Ferrari can. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say McLaren in the top three, Red Bull top three, and I'm gonna put uh, Mercedes in the top five with Ferrari.
Okay. I like it's hey, I like how you're strategically protecting your prediction here. It's like, hey, top five, and it can any one of the five could be within it. I see how you did that. I like
I'm
it.
hedging my bets.
You just don't want to be wrong. I love it. It's like, I don't want to be wrong. I'll just try. Hey, everyone might be in the top five. Top, the top, the top four teams are gonna be in the top five. That's I like that. I like that. I like that prediction. I would be more bold. I would be crazy with it. All right, so now I could be wrong. I predict Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are gonna have a battle. I don't know where this is coming from, but I think it's
Okay.
pending. They're too close right now. If everything goes right with Ferrari and everything's going right with George Russell and Mercedes, they are around the third, fourth, fifth position, just um, going off the last two Grand Prix. And looking
Okay.
at practice results, I think Ferrari are going to be up there, and I think George Russell's going to be up there too with his qualifying pace. So I think there's going to be a battle between hopefully Lewis Hamilton and George Russell if Lewis Hamilton has a faster car. I think it's so hard. I mean, Lando Norris just at the FP2 the fastest lap. Was it FP2 or FP1? The McLarens, you can't discount them. Even Leclerc recently said, what was it Leclerc? Someone said, it might have been Leclerc, that the McLarens are in another league. and so I really think if Lando Norris isn't winning, it's going to be Oscar
Yeah, sure.
Piastri.
I agree.
Um, however, little, I mean, caveat, I do think there's going to be a surprise player in that running. I don't know why. I just get this feeling that, yeah, we're kind of discounting Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen will be behind a Ferrari, I'm predicting, but will be in front of a Ferrari at the same time, potentially.
Hmm.
I hope it's potentially Hamilton, maybe George Russell, Max Verstappen, and then Leclerc. That's how I'm predicting the third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth places. Or it's going to
Okay.
be, I'm predicting before I go to one and two, which is going to be, I believe, Lando Norris and then Oscar Piastri. But yeah, third, fourth, and fifth. It's it. I'm hoping. I'm hoping Lewis Hamilton wins the battle, but it could easily be Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, one or two or whatever, and then Russell, Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Leclerc. So I'm predicting like fifth and sixth. Yeah, that's my prediction.
Okay.
And but also little caveat, I know there's gonna be a surprise player in there. It could be Kimi Antonelli, it could be Alex Albon, it could even be
Could,
Nico Hulkenberg. It could be the person that we never speak about, Lance Stroll. It could be it could be anyone.
listen, there's so many possibilities. So many
I just feel like,
possibilities.
yeah, I just feel like something surprising might happen in the Japanese
It
Grand
will.
Prix. But that's my prediction.
Well,
Uh, yeah, we'll see.
we'll see. We'll see, guys. Stay tuned.
Let's
We
see.
might do a live coming up soon. So that'll we'll talk offline about that. We should get together
Okay,
and do that. Yeah. But yeah,
sure, for sure.
big things are happening. So thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. Also, just want to, because I think this is going to be really cool. I think we really
Yeah,
need to start creating some shorts. Because this shorts thing is keeping me in the loop. I feel like I
I
know
agree.
so much more about Lewis Hamilton and I mean, I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, so that's the main person I look for. But also like what's happening in the whole Formula One grid this season. Because I'm always looking for news to post up shorts. So yeah, that could be a thing. If you want to follow mine, Benny Sarpong on YouTube. And yeah, let's see what happens in the Japanese Grand Prix. You dig?
Let's go, guys. Bye
Let's
bye.
go. Bye bye. I was about to log off this thing.